Detail. My apologies and gratitude to Ken Hinds, who chairs the Haringey Independent Stop and Search Monitoring Group, who's been hanging on the line. Apologies again, Mr. Hinds. You've heard in forensic detail almost this police idea. Well, how do you respond to it?
Yeah, I agree with nearly everything Adam Simmons says. He's spot on in the sense that one of the things that what people don't realise is that we all got unconscious biasness. But when we got power to go with that, and that's open to abuse, that's where things go very wrong. Now, I know as a chairman of Haringey Independent Stop and Search Monitoring Group that 80% of the stop and search that are done lead to no further action. That means possible misuse of stop and search in those figures.
Wow, that means 20% does. That's fantastic.
No, I said 8% of those people who are stop and search.
Did you say 80% leads to nothing?
80%.
Yeah, that means 20% does.
20%, yes. 20%.
So 1 in 5. That's fantastic news, Mr. Hinds. That means 1 in 5 on a random operation like that means we get the bad guy or we get onto something. We should be lauding this.
Listen, but when you find that the majority of people that stop and search are for the misuse of drugs, that means that people they've got more of a health issue rather than a criminal issue. When the Home Secretary
said... if it's a crime, though, on the statute book, it's a crime.
Let me make this point. When the Home Secretary said that up to 27% of stop and search in 2012, 2013 were possibly illegal, that's 250,000 people who may have been stopped and searched illegally. Do you understand?
I do, yes.
You've got to understand, what we've got to understand is it's a knock-on effect when people are stopped and searched in that way. In Haringey, we call it stopped and scarred, because what it does, it sets barriers. Now, I think it's so important that the police understand that they use their power proportionately. We want them to take off the bad guys off our street. We want them to take off these violent characters or people carrying knives and guns. But what we don't want to do is stop innocent people.
But you don't know until you stop him, Mr. Hinds.
What I do know is that if 80% of them are stopped and searched, I've got no further action, that means that they're getting it wrong more time than they're getting it right.
Well, of course they're... Mr. Hinds, stop and search is not a perfect science. Mm-hmm. It's informed by local intelligence. It's informed by perhaps what police see. It's never. If you think you're going to turn those around, you're going to get 80 plays 20 in success. It's never going to happen, Mr. Hinds.
No, Nick. Let me say this much, Nick. What happened was we had a section 60 where they used to use this. That means no suspicion, and they used to use that more than suspicious laws than suspicion. Now, what happened as a consequence? We encouraged lazy policing. That means they could stop anybody. And what they used to stop is people of colour were more likely to be stopped. Like, give you an example.
Well, sadly, people of colour are heavily involved, particularly in a borough such as Haringey, with some of the street crime. That's a fact.
But street crime. But let me say this much to you. What would you say if you on a suspicious law, the PACE Act, you were 10 times more likely to be stopped and searched than your white counterpart, but under Section 60, you were 37 times more likely.
But Section 60's gone, hasn't it?
It hasn't gone. It's still being used, but it's not being used in the numbers that they used before. Okay. For the simple reason that we in Haringey brought it to the police attention. Now they had to rethink the way they use that.
If I'm a young black male in Haringey, sadly, as a fact of life, and for my own protection, it's probably I am going to be stopped and searched more than a young white male, because sadly young black males are more involved in that sort of crime. It's a fact.
Nick,
I can't expect to change society.
It'd be great if we took knives and guns off our street, but when the figure says less than 10% of the people, I would say less than 10% of the people stop and search, knife or weapons are found on them, that means to me that it's a fishing expedition that they're going through. They still haven't got it quite right.
All right, I think we're never going to agree on this, but I'm very grateful for your input, Ken Hinds. You chair the Haringey Independent Stop and Search Monitoring Group.